Everybody, today is Tuesday, January 16th. It is 3 p.m. I'd like to call the Order Rules Administration and Procedures meeting. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Chairperson Ron Moorman.
Here.
Vice Chair Emmanuel Yamas. Alderman Edward Bugg.
Here.
Alderman Carl Franco.
Here.
Alderwoman Patty Smith.
Sitting right here.
4 present.
Thank you. Alderman Bugg requests permission to participate in this meeting remotely per Section 2-80 due to medical or emergency circumstances beyond his control that make it impossible for him to attend this meeting in person. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Franco, second by Alderman Smith. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Passes 3-0. So, first item on the agenda, approval of minutes 24-0004, approval of the minutes from the Rules Administration and
So moved.
Procedures Committee meeting held on January 2nd, 2024.
Second.
Have a motion by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item carries 4-0. Madam Clerk, is there anybody here for public comment?
No, there is not.
Perfect. Next item on the agenda, 24-0014, an ordinance amending Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinance pertaining to the city's officers and departments.
Good afternoon, Alex Voigt with the Mayor's Office. Before you today is a proposal to amend Chapter 2. This is to bring the code in alignment with the 2024 budget. As you will recall from the budget process, our Community Affairs Department previously housed communications as a division. Through the budget process, communications and marketing is now its own department. This amendment seeks to codify those changes. So we do have organization charts with the updated divisions, and I can take any questions.
Any questions from the committee?
I have a question.
Alderman Franco?
Alex, and I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. When we look at the charts,
Yes.
there's 2 charts.
Yes,
The MOCA chart says Community Affairs Department.
yes.
The next chart says Community Affairs Department. Should that have been Communications?
Yes.
Okay, I just-
I will make that change. Thank you. My apologies.
No,
Yes,
that's
Community Affairs should have the Chief Engagement and Equity Officer, and the other chart should be Communications and Marketing.
Okay.
I will make that change.
Can I look at the, I had a question, but
Sure,
I'm,
this
my,
is,
yes, where's the one before that one?
one was this one.
So can you just personally
Sure.
explain what the Director of Equity and Inclusion is? I know that's not part of what we're voting on today, but just a brief description.
The Director of Equity and Inclusion. So this is an existing department in Community Affairs. This has been part of the budget. I believe this went through in the 2022 budget process. So the Director of Equity and Inclusion, that division head is Michelle Clark, and she oversees our equity and inclusion initiatives.
I guess a better question would be, what is, and I can ask you this offline, I'll take
Sure.
this offline, because I just haven't seen that in a while, and was just kind of wondering what they were doing, but as far as this item,
Well, wasn't that a result of the equity and inclusion survey that we had done for a number of years to get to that point, or maybe wasn't that part of the process?
Well, this division was created, again, I think it was either the 2021 or 2022 budget. And Michelle has been working on a number of trainings for staff. I apologize, I'm trying to punch these up here. She'll be very involved with the outreach component of the availability and diversity study, the implementation of that. She will be the community outreach part, and procurement will be managing the finance part of it. But I'd be happy to connect you to, and she can update you on all of the projects that she's working on. But the position has been filled by the same person since it was created in, I think, 22.
motion to approve.
Any other questions, comments?
Chairman?
Sure, Alderman Bugg.
Yeah, my recollection, Alderman Franco is correct. We had that study done. One of the main recommendations was that we should have a either, some person in that position, the director, whatever, of equity, and that's kind of when it went forward. So, yeah, it was direct from that study we had done. It was,
Just to reiterate,
right, it was a number one recommendation, if I were correct.
my question was not whether I know that it sits there. I just wondered what they
Yeah.
were doing because I not heard anything from them for a while, and it kind of jogged my
Yeah.
curiosity when I saw this new chart, so I can connect personally.
Yeah, I think,
because
connecting offline, I think would be
Yeah,
best for this.
absolutely.
I shouldn't have brought that up at this particular time and point.
Any other
so I
questions?
retract it.
I'm sorry.
Second.
Any other questions or comments? Did I have a motion by Alderman
Yeah,
Smith?
yes.
Second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Motion passes 4-0. Next item on the agenda, 24-0020, a resolution approving the reappointments of Scott Maxon, Patricia DeVore, Richard Lawrence to the Aurora Veterans Advisory Board.
Hi, Sylvia Vargas with the Mayor's Office. I'm here in front of you telling you about the reappointments of 3 board members to the Veterans Advisory Board. There are 2 members that are ward members. One is Scott Maxon is a Ward 6 member. Richard Lawrence is a 8 ward member. Sorry. And Patricia DeVore is a non-resident, but she is very well in the community as a volunteer. After these 3 appointments, if they are approved, there is 1 remaining position on the Aurora Veterans Advisory Board.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? No. Motion by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0, or resolution carries 4-0. Next item on the agenda, 24-0021. Excuse me, a resolution approving the reappointment of Sandra Harrison, Dr. Todd Leedon, Dr. Jennifer Norrell, and Alderman Edward Bugg to the Aurora Education Commission.
So these 4, they are all reappointments. Sandra Harrison, it's her reappointment for second term. She is a Ward 8 resident. Dr. Todd Leedon is a superintendent. He is a non-resident but a superintendent. And Dr. Jennifer Norrell is also superintendent to District 131. And Alderman Bugg is the Ward 9 alderman.
Now, legal with Ed sitting on this board, does he abstain, or do we have to vote on each individual person, or so he can vote on the other ones, or does it really make a difference?
Deb Lang, on behalf of the Law Department, I would have Alderman Bugg abstain on this.
On every single one, or do we vote on him separately, and then the other ones he can chime in on, or since it's all one ordinance, he has to abstain?
Since it's all
Should
one,
anyway.
I would
Do it
just.
that way?
Yes, do it
Perfect.
that way.
So,
Motion to approve.
Second.
any questions, comments? Motion by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 3-0. All righty. Next one on the agenda here, 24-0025, a resolution approving the reappointment of Sandra Harrison to the city's advisory commissions for disabilities.
This is Sandra Harrison's second term, if she is reappointed, and she is a Ward 8 member. If she is approved for reappointment, there will be 3 remaining positions on the advisory commissions of disabilities.
I do have a question not about Ms. Harris, but have we, our current chairman is stepping down, my understanding?
Yes.
And have we repositioned that position yet?
Yes, the mayor he appointed Alexandra Engelhardt, who is the executive director of the Fox Valley Special Recreation Association, and she was previously the vice chair on the commission, so she will be serving as the chair.
Thank you. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any questions, comments from the committee? Motion by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. 24-0027, a resolution authorizing the reappointments of Seth Hoffman, Amber Foster, Simon Munoz to the Aurora Preservation Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments from the committee? There being none, I got a motion by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? A resolution carries 4-0. Next one on the agenda here, 24-0030. A resolution approving the reappointment of William Small Jr., Robert Lundquist, and Annette McMahon to the Human Relations Commission.
They are all three veteran candidates for the Human Relations Commission. One is William Small Jr. is a Ward 8 member, Robert Lundquist is a Ward 3 member, and Annette McMahon is a Ward 1 member. And they're both, there will be no vacancies after these reappointments if approved.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any questions or comments from the committee?
I got a comment.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just generally, of course, when we do these appointments, it seems like there are possibly on a couple of boards or people who serve on boards who are serving on possibly 4 or even up to 5 boards. And I mean, we discussed it a little bit before. We never put anything in. Of course, we want to try and get representation from, city of 180,000 people, try and get representation across the board. Do you know if there are any right now people sitting on 4 or 5 boards?
So, I'm sorry, Alex Voigt with the Mayor's Office. Alderman, right off the top of my head, there are 3 individuals who serve on multiple boards. One of them, or 2 of them, of course, were up for reappointment to their boards today. There are other individuals where if you serve on one board, you are automatically serving on 2 other boards as well. So that would be a total of 3. But to the best of my knowledge, we have 3 people that are serving on multiple boards, and as long as they are attending meetings, participating, and there isn't a long waiting line for a board, we haven't had an issue with having individuals serve on multiple boards. If attendance or participation were an issue, we would have that discussion, but the individuals who we have serving have all been outstanding board and commission members.
Okay, no, I understand that, and I understand the one with the 3, the technical expertise.
Yes.
But do we have? Because I didn't know the exact number. Do we have anyone serving on 5 boards?
No, I think there is one individual who is serving on 3, and I believe that's the max. That one person that serves on 3 boards, that's the maximum.
Okay. Yeah, that's equitable.
And to answer your question, we do not have any.
I thought it was up to 4. I thought someone had 4.
I am only aware of one individual who's on 3. I can go back, if you want to email me offline, maybe I can double check that. But to answer your question, we do not have any, there are no rules in the ordinance regarding that. We rely on the individuals.
I realize that, and I don't think we want to get to that point, but you did such a great job with CRB that we got in so many applications, and thus we have so many people kind of in the pipeline if other boards open up to get new people involved, that I hope there would never be a need for someone to serve on 4 or 5 boards. So that's why I was asking the question. So, So thank you.
I have a follow-up question to something Alderman Bug asked. Do we have people sitting in the pipeline?
We have I would say in our portal, we receive applications regularly because we don't ever close the ability for someone to apply to a board. You're able to apply at any time, and what we do is we communicate with them if there are vacancies or not, and then we work with the staff liaison if there are individuals that are able to be appointed. But we do have, I couldn't tell you how many applications, but we receive applications regularly.
All right, thank you. That's
But
good to
there's
know.
not a pipeline for like every board, it's just.
No,
Yeah,
it's not for every board.
Okay.
And we do still have some boards that are more challenging to find members for, of course, but we're happy that we have as many people willing to volunteer as we do.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Had a motion by Alderman Smith, a second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Next item, thank you. Next item on the agenda, 24-0029, a discussion regarding the process for Ward 9 Scholarship Program. And then, just to be clear, this is this is informational only, right? We're not voting on this? Correct, okay. Alderman Bug, would you like to begin?
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I just wanted to put this forward. Of course, Ward 9 does a scholarship program each year for probably about the last 5 years or so, 5 or 6 years. Of course, with the impending ordinance that we have coming regarding aldermen, I didn't want to get behind in really what I do for the Ward 9 scholarship. So I wanted to at least, I've talked about this a little bit before, but I wanted to put in front of the members of the committee just kind of some of the details and parameters. The staff was gracious enough to put that together for you. So very, very generally, we've done this for a number of years. We take in applications from Ward 9 residents, the current boundary and the prior boundary before the census change, because we didn't want to cut them out just because the line, kind of moved over 2 streets and all of a sudden you're not eligible. So we included both of those areas for that. We start with a base of giving away 5 scholarships, and that's really just the base. And then, of course, the hope is, and they always have been, the businesses have been tremendous and supporting us and helping us out. I think our staff put in there last year, the businesses helped us out. I think their sponsorships totaled almost $11,000. And that's, and then we go ahead and, figure out who's going to get those scholarships and get those out there to the students. There's questions about the committee. The committee is made up of usually 3 to 4 people. One of them has to be an educator, either current teacher, former teacher, someone with a higher degree in education, to kind of lead the group. And of course, then the people who sit on that committee, they cannot have any relatives, of course, getting scholarships. I sit on that committee, of course, and none of my relatives are able to obtain scholarships. And then they come out with the number. All of the applications are completely blind, so the staff gets in the scholarships. All their information is redacted, but we basically get GPAs and their statement of what they want to do in the future, their career. We look at them blindly. We have no idea who they are. We don't know what gender they are. And then we pick them, pick the winners. And then we go back to staff, and staff has a coding system, and we match the application code with that application. And that's how we find out if they won. So I find out who won pretty much the day or 2 before we hand out the scholarships, when we're basically gonna write out our jumbo checks is when we find out. So really now the only person who knows there is Kathy formerly and Ashley going in the future. They will know the winners, but no one else will. So that's kind of the way it works. It's pretty straightforward. It's all dependent, like I said, on the businesses. We go out there, hustle, and like I said, they've been tremendous in helping us out, and then we try and help out some of the students in the area. So that's basically it.
Questions?
Yes,
Alderman Smith?
Alderman Bug, I actually have a series of questions for you on your scholarship because I'm very interested in how you do this. Do you mind if I ask you these questions?
No, not at all.
So are you on the committee, the scholarship committee where all the information is redacted? Are you part of that committee?
Yeah, I'm part of the review. Yes, the only person who does the redactions is the administrator in our office.
But you're on the actual committee yourself, correct?
The review committee. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that's one question. So you said that you got money in funds in from businesses, so are your award funds covering these scholarships, or is it money in from, funds in from businesses?
It's mainly money in from businesses. I will also, we'll determine how many people will get scholarships. So, like I said, we took in about $11,000 last year, and I believe I added in ward funds maybe about 3 to 4,000.
And how many
Yeah, so
scholarships?
the vast majority is from the businesses, and then I will add in ward funds to round it out. But the base, our base starting point is 5 $1,000 scholarships. That's our starting point. If we, only get, it's really dependent on the number of applications you get. Like this year, we got over 20 applications. So, we try and raise and get as many sponsors as we can. That's the whole point of it. And like I said, we got about $11,000 in, and we cut it off at about 14,000 going out or so.
So is that
around there.
$1,000, is that 14 students that received scholarships? Or
Pardon?
did you give 14 students $1,000, or did you make it a larger amount for a smaller amount of students?
No. 2 scholarships were bumped up. 2 scholarships were $1,500. So like the top academic and the top community service, and then all the rest were $1,000.
And then, sorry, I have so
Yeah,
many
no.
questions for you. And I'm intrigued by this, so I'm asking. So when you get funds from businesses, how are they getting you the money? Because I don't think they can give it to your ward, can they? Do you have a non-for-profit set up so that they can put it through there? How are you working that out?
Oh, no, and that's in the document that I attached. Those funds come into the city. They make a check out to the city of Aurora. It says for the Ward 9 scholarship program. And, our office takes them in, gets them over to finance, and they go into an account. And, finance basically handles all that. But the funds are made out to the city of Aurora.
So, I'm almost done, I promise.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a criteria for them to be Aurora recipients?
Aurora,
The people that are receiving the scholarships, do they have to be residents of the city of Aurora? I know you have Oswego students.
oh, yes. Yeah, definitely.
They have to be, okay.
Yeah, no one outside the city. No.
You're specific
Yeah,
to night, aren't you?
yeah, because some scholarships or some programs, they say maybe you have to attend a certain high school. I don't have a high school in Ward 9, so I don't have that parameter. So, yeah, they have to be a resident. Yeah.
Thank you. I think this will be helpful as we put together parameters, as the RAP committee puts together parameters for the ward scholarships moving forward after we get past this, moving the entire alderman's funds forward. This will be part of one of our next steps. So I just thank you for the information. I appreciate it.
Question.
Oh, thank you.
Alderman Franco?
Alderman Bug, I got a question for you.
Sure.
As I read this, I saw the corporate sponsors, which you mentioned, but in here, I didn't see that you are potentially a sponsor in addition. So I didn't see that any of the language in here. So I guess if I had to make a recommendation, when you list your corporate sponsors, you might put your name in there too, just so they know that potentially you could be using some ward funds, depending on if you need to or not. Because I thought, it's strictly business, but you mentioned that you may be putting in. So I think that would probably be better, so we know there's a potential for that.
Yeah. I put 3 documents in there, so, yeah, I'll clean that up.
Yeah.
And really when we started it 6 years ago, and you kind of, you just do it in a wing and a prayer, and you go to your first business and say, hey, I'm going to do a scholarship. You have no idea. Maybe you get 0 funds the first year.
Right.
So the first year we said we were going to put up to, I think back then it was up to $3,000 in. If we got 0 businesses, we would still give away $3,000, to 1, 2, or 3 people, collectively. So yeah, definitely, I'll clean that up. But yeah, the base is $5,000. That we're going to give 5 $1,000 scholarships, and I kind of already know, like, some businesses come back every year. They don't necessarily pledge next year, but like I said, they've been tremendous. So we look forward to giving out the scholarships, but we'll definitely clean that up a little bit.
Okay, thanks, that's all I got.
And Alderman Bug, I do have a few questions as well, too. So first thing is, on one of those documents you attached, it says that in order to apply, that you have to be a Ward 9 resident, right? So that would qualify, that they would have to be, so it's just Ward 9 specific this is for, right? Any student in Ward 9?
Ward, well, like, the boundary is the old and new Ward 9 boundaries. Okay. So I explained that a little bit. So the former Ward 9 boundary, part of it, went to another ward. And that goes back to last year. Those kids, when we were doing the census stuff, they were already getting together their documents to apply for the scholarship. So, we kind of discussed it. We're not going to, pull your opportunity to get a scholarship because we moved the boundary 3 streets over. And now you're no longer Ward 9, now you're in Ward whatever. So it is the old Ward 9 boundary plus the new boundary.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that makes sense. And the other question I have is, in the last document, you said 2023 Ward 9 scholarship sponsors. So with those businesses, they weren't specific to Ward 9, it was throughout the city. I've had a few people ask me about the potential of, and I can't remember who's on the list, I can't open it up, let's say, a business in Ward 8, since they're close, is donating to the Ward 9 thing, and would that interfere with you, Alderman Smith, starting if you choose to, starting a scholarship fund? Are everybody okay with kind of ignoring the boundaries when it comes to donations for this type of thing? That's more just food for thought. It's not something I want a big debate on, but I know that a few of the other aldermen have brought that to my attention, that if you're going to be specific for the ward, should it be specific for the donations as well, too? Just food for thought, so.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, which I am not at this moment going to answer because it does bring some thought into it. I don't do a scholarship program, but if you are going to another ward to obtain funds and that particular ward does scholarships and they can't get funds from that business, that could be problematic. I guess that's probably part of the discussion that we have going forward.
Yeah, and again, it was just food for thought, and I didn't expect it to be resolved or any of that. It was just something I wanted to bring to the attention. I was asked to bring it to the attention, so. But
no, it's a good point.
Yeah.
And this is what I say to that. Because the businesses, they sponsor or they make donations for the good of all the people of Aurora, be my Ward 9 or anywhere else.
Sure.
Even as an alderman, I get in requests to say support our East Aurora, whatever, their boosters, their
foundation and stuff,
yeah. PTA, whatever it's called. I have 0 students in Ward 9 who attend the East Aurora schools, but I know that those funds are going toward the good of the people of Aurora. And I have in the past, although I don't have any students in East Aurora, out of my 19,000 residents. I don't have any that go to East Aurora. I still support them as an alderman for the city of Aurora. So that's kind of, we, put in our funds, or the businesses put in their funds, and they're doing it for the people, all over the city. It could be one area of the city or many areas of the city, but we want it for the good of all the people in the city. So, like I said a few weeks ago, that part of this, really the reason it was created is just because, from rules or regulations beyond the power of the students, the seniors and college students, kind of in the other 3 counties, they don't have all the opportunities that some of the other students in the rest of the city do for whatever reason. Some people drew some boundaries on things. They didn't include, and it's not wrong. Will County and Kendall County were never supposed to be a part of Aurora, and that statement was made in the late 90s. So those were the boundaries, and some of those boundaries still exist for our scholarships. So I had the discussion with one organization and an organization that I support, and I said, well, are any of the are any of the Will County or people available to get this scholarship? And they said, well, do they attend a high school in Aurora? I said, no, 95% of Ward 9 goes to Oswego East. They said, well, that's our criteria. You have to attend a high school, so you have to attend Wabanzi, Matea, East Aurora, West Aurora, so forth, one of the religious schools, or IMSA, to be eligible for that scholarship. So that's just one, but there are others that there's parameters that, just certain sections of the city, those kids are not able to apply to those scholarships. And that's really was the impetus of creating this 6 years ago. So yeah, that's
Alderman Bug?
Mm-hmm.
To add to your point, unless we are going to take our city and chunk up our businesses equally to all of our wards, we can't restrict that crossing over the boundary. Ward 9 people are coming to my Burger King and spending money, and my kids are going to your Red Robin and spending money. So I agree with you there, because when you have, one ward that has 85% of all the businesses in the entire city, a person that has that ward can't keep you or any of us from going into that ward. Or, I certainly wouldn't go across town all the way over to the 5th ward to be asking for things, but I could see where you're coming from, because that's a wide open area where we live, and we all shop locally, which is what we want. And your students and families shop locally as well. So you shouldn't have those perimeters of where you can and cannot ask for, for support for your scholarships. So.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, great. Thank you, Alderman Bug.
No, thank you for the questions. I appreciate them, and that helps me, formulate these things and make it better for the kids. It's all about the kids.
And I think you're right, this could be a blueprint for other folks as well, too, so I think it's everybody on the same page helps, so. So that concludes today's agenda. We do have an item on the held agenda, 23-0721, an ordinance amending Chapter 41.5 of the Code of Ordinances pertaining to special events.
So moved.
Second. Any questions or comments regarding this?
I have a question.
Alderman Franco?
Who is speaking from the city on this on behalf of Richard? Okay. Rick, on page 3, when you're talking about different discussion items, and there's a number of different sections on here, but there's one that says, further clarifying language has been added that a refusal or unwillingness of city employees to volunteer for work assignments shall not be a basis for the city to determine that it lacks enough resources for an event. So I guess with that wording, what do we do if we have a situation like we had a couple years ago where there's more than meets the eye and said, we don't want to do it? For example, let's just say we had some Nazis wanting to march in Aurora, and we're like, we're not supporting that, and all that kind of stuff.
Can't pick
What do we do? If we can't get volunteers, what happens?
Well, the obligation, let me mute my speaker here real quick because I'm getting feedback, and you guys maybe as well. Let me do that. Is that better?
It was good before, but go ahead.
Okay. All right. In a situation like this, I mean, essentially, if we are going to require public safety employees to participate in an event, or basically require a organizer who's doing an event to have and pay for public safety employees there, we're going to have to find a way to provide them. And whether that be doing things on our side to encourage better participation, which is exactly what we did this year prior to the injunction coming down. On the day the injunction entered, we had enough officers signed up to do the parade this year. I think the best efforts that we can use right now in a situation like this is to strongly encourage those who are in the position to volunteer and take these additional shifts to encourage them as best we can to do so. If not, we're going to be responsible for obtaining persons to do that. We have a variety of options available to us, but it is going to be our obligation to make sure that we have the bodies that we say we need in order to make sure that the event occurs safely.
So if we were, so let's say we couldn't get the volunteers, and I hate to go what ifs, but we've seen that what ifs actually come true at times. So if we were to say we can't get the volunteers, we go out and hire a private security firm, they're going to make up the difference, we got it going, would they pick up that tab, the organizers?
We would not be able to pass along the excess cost of doing so.
Just the amount that it would have cost us.
Exactly. Now, in most situations, I think the cost might be the cost of bringing an outside non-sworn to do that work might be lower. But I think in most instances, if we had this type of a situation and we were saying that we needed sworn officers to provide that level of protection for the event, we would need to obtain sworn officers. I don't think we would be going to a subcontracting to private security to do that. Okay. In fact, if private security is an option, we would encourage the organizer to go and engage those private security folks on their own to engage in non-law enforcement type activity.
Okay. All right. I was just trying to, if these scenarios that sometimes you think may never come true, they do. And I just kind of wonder what our plan B would be on something like that. But that kind of explains it somewhat. Appreciate it. Thanks. Well, yeah, but we can't cancel the event. We've got to find somebody. So, all right, so what do we do if nobody wants to call? That's kind of
Any other questions, comments? Motion by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. No need for a closed session.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to
Second.
adjourn by Alderman Smith and second by Alderman Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We are officially adjourned at 3:39 PM. Thank you, everyone.